but something that um, people need to understand is that in India today, we are on the cusp of change, and change is happening. You're part of that. We have to accept that you are not going to get absolutely clear ideas about how these things happen. And in fact, as we go along, there will be people who will find conflicts and so on. So, which is where we need the lawyers and the judges to help sort these things out, because these are not things that uh, patients and doctors can just do between themselves. It takes broader society also, and that's where the legal system comes. I'll stop at this point. And did I answer what you said, or did I just?
Yes, also a little bit about the patient perspective and the palliative perspective of why living wills are so crucial. और एक और बात, इसको सचमुच लिविंग विल्स बोलना चाहिए, और आई हर्ड यू सेइंग एडवांस्ड मेडिकल डायरेक्टिव, एंड देयरफॉर टर्मिनोलॉजी कौन सी करेक्ट है?
Oops, three questions. Sorry, I'll take the last one first because that's really important. And Advocate Rashmi will also bear me out. The standard will, the estate will kicks in when you are dead. So why the living will? Because this one has to be your voice when you are alive but cannot speak. If you can speak and say, "Mujhe ye mat karo," that's it. But when you cannot speak, the living will speaks for you. The problem is the living will gives, say, some amount of directions to people and all that, but you actually need a real person standing there telling the doctors, this is what she said, please follow this. Which is why the living will has to be combined with appointment of designated healthcare representatives. Okay, you can call them proxies, you can call them power of attorneys. We don't like that term, but so we use the term designated healthcare representative. It could be somebody from your family, it could be a friend, it could be your lawyer. But that person will be the person who will speak for you. And that person will use what you have said in the living will to guide them. So the advanced medical directive actually comprises these two components. Ek, appointment of designated healthcare representative, and two, your wishes in the living will. We'll take anything else so that otherwise I can answer whatever else comes up.
No, no, this is fine. I would now like to move to Rashmi. And Rashmi, if you can please tell us how exactly does one go about creating the living will? And also stress a little upon, does the living will, and I'm taking the will part a little bit doctor touched upon, but I would like you also to clarify
Sure.
कि ये will जो हम दूसरा will बनाते हैं अपनी एसेट्स के लिए, अपने बच्चों के लिए, अपने स्पाउस के लिए, ये उस will में अटैच हो सकता है कि नहीं, और उसमें, और is it the will to live and therefore living will, or is it the will because you're making a will for the entire thing? And like I said, क्या ये करेक्ट टर्मिनोलॉजी है या इसको कुछ और बोलना चाहिए, बिकॉज देयर इज ऑल्सो द टर्मिनोलॉजी ऑफ एडवांस्ड मेडिकल डायरेक्टिव, तो हमको वो यूज करना चाहिए कि कौन सा यूज करना चाहिए? ऑफ कोर्स इन टॉकिंग टर्म्स आई थिंक वेरी ऑफन लिविंग विल इज मच इजियर क्योंकि वो समझ में आता है, तो प्लीज कैन यू थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन दैट?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Sejal. And I will just take forward what Dr. Gursahani has mentioned. So the concept of living will is very, very new to India. In fact, there are a lot of people who come to us and we tell them that, you should also make a living will. पर उनका कहना होता है, हाँ हाँ हमारी will तो है, हमारी वसीयत तो है. So it is very important for people to understand there's a difference between living will and will. In fact, honestly speaking, till 3 years back, even I did not know what was living will. It was my father, who is a doctor himself, Dr. G. Deshpande, who told me that, you can also work and help your clients with living will. And that's when, we started our studies. And then we also followed what wonderful work Dr. Gursani had done, what his hospital has done. And thankfully, then there is a prototype which is available of living will, which people can rely on and start making that will. Now, let me come to your question as to what exactly are the difference. A will, as everybody understands, what we call wasihat, is a legal document where you put down all your assets, your liabilities, and you give a clarity to the people after you die as to what is to be done with your assets, who is to get your assets, how your liabilities are to be sorted, etc., etc. So it kicks in after a person passes away. That is your will, that is your wasihat. Now, AMD, which is your Advanced Medical Directive, what generally is called a living will, but a correct terminology has to be AMD, is also a legally recognized document, although it has come from certain Supreme Court judgments, common causes judgments, and of course, the procedures have been fine tuned by many high courts. Till date, Bombay High Court is also fine tuning the procedure of activating an AMD. It is not a codified law, but it is very much recognized. Now, what is a living will? A living will is a document where a person, let's call him an executor, when he reaches, or let's say, if God forbid, somebody reaches a stage when they are not able to take decisions with respect to what is the health treatment that has to be meted to the person because of the person being in a vegetative condition, a person not being able to convey his healthcare wishes, he makes a directive in advance where he says that should I reach this condition, there are certain treatments where I would not like to continue or I would like to continue. When I talk about the treatments, I'm specifically talking about those 7 to 8, 9, 10 treatments, which are basically given to a person when a person is in a vegetative state. And if you see the Vidhi document, the document which is out there in the public, which gives a prototype of what AMD is all about, they have very, very categorically noted down those treatments which are to be given once a person reaches that stage. So, basis that document, you can identify that this is the treatment which I don't want. This is the treatment I might want to continue. And this is a document where the executor of the document is not able to speak or not able to give his wishes. Hence, he writes it in advance as to how exactly he wants to be treated. He nominates a person, as Dr. Gursahani said. You can call the person as a nominator, you can call a person as a direct healthcare representative, any terminology can be used. You make a living will, you of course, it is very much advisable that when you make a living will, you go to your doctor, you understand what the treatments are all about, how you can use it, and you also discuss it with your family members. That's very important. Then you nominate minimum 2 people who could be your family members, who could be anybody. It could be your attorney, it could be your friend, it could be your neighbor. You need to have 2 witnesses, and you need to get the AMD notarized. Once you do all these process, keep at least 7 to 8 copies, one with yourself, one with your family, one with your health, your hospital that you could be frequently visiting, or your healthcare practitioner, and with the nominated person. So I'll stop here. I'm trying to summarize what process is there, but maybe we can take specific questions later on.
I just have to add one point to this. Of course, Advocate Rashmi said about the uh, persistent vegetative state. Actually, the persistent vegetative state is quite uncommon. And here we are looking at this document as somebody is moving towards the end of life when things are moving very fast. Right? And when we talk of the treatments that she alluded to, उसमें कार्डियोपल्मोनरी रिसस्टेशन है, जब हार्ट बंद हो जाता तो थंपिंग करते शॉक देते, वो वेंटिलेटर पर डालना, डायलिसिस देना, कीमोथेरेपी देना, इवन एंटीबायोटिक्स, इवन IV fluids, even tube feeds. All of these are termed, there's a category, we call them life-saving treatments. Now, the thing about life-saving treatments that people don't realize, that they are always done in the ICU. Life-saving treatments save lives. But in somebody who's dying, they prolong dying. And that is why uh, the living will, the advanced medical directive comes in to say, okay. And the other thing that lay people often don't understand is that when you pay attention to all these things, almost in 90% of people, we can tell when somebody is in the last few weeks or months of life. 90%. So that's the stage where these things actually start to come into action. And look at it hypothetically. Suppose somebody has a bad disease, gradually going downhill. Where do you want to spend your last days? In the ICU? With white coated boots poking things into you, or at home with your family. So the advanced medical directive makes that possible. In fact, it puts the duty on people who care for you, love for you, to make sure that your wishes are carried out.
Thank you
That,
so much, Doctor. In fact, just to highlight that point further, we see a lot of senior citizens, like you rightly said, that when you think you're at the end of your life, and obviously medical practitioners can absolutely identify that. But very often, let's assume the patient is also aware that, it seems to be my end of life. We often hear a lot of people about 80, 85 saying, I don't want to hit the hospital at all. I would much rather stay at home. So, does this particular document make sure that this decision can prevail? And what is the overlap between that and euthanasia? That is something I would like to ask you as well as Advocate Rashmi. So, if both of you can just touch upon that before we go on to the next phase.
so, advocate, you'll go ahead, or should I?
So, uh, euthanasia is a very sensitive term that you have brought up, Sejal. And yes, I think, it's very important to discuss that during a discussion regarding AMD. AMD is a document which allows you to, if I can put it in a better manner, to die with a dignity. The right to dignity to life is also a right which is recognized under the Constitution of India. And AMD is something that gets activated where a person is terminally ill. And what Dr. Gursahani rightly said is that we can make out that the person is about to pass away, right? And that is where the AMD kicks in, and whatever are his last wishes are fulfilled. Euthanasia and AMD is a legally recognized form. Euthanasia, on the other hand, is illegal in India. It's not recognized, it's not practiced. So, this is something that one should remember. Now, what is euthanasia? Euthanasia, in simple words, if I can say, is assisted suicide. Okay. Where a person, maybe he's terminally ill, he's not able to take the pain and everything else. And with the help of the family doctor, a physician, the death is induced.
Injection.
That is what euthanasia is. And again, I'm saying it is not legal in India.
Right.
So there's a difference between AMD and euthanasia, and one needs to know that.
Great. Yes, you very much answered. Yes, Ramesh, please go ahead.
Yeah, so from what I've heard from doctor and the advocate, both of them, is that living will is something, or an AMD is something that a person should decide to execute. Now, what is the start point? It is only after we started this initiative of Genes Life that we realized there is something called living will. Now, do a person like me, who is a senior citizen, need to execute it, or is there a start point somewhere? And who advises me as an individual? Okay, I think it's time for you to write a living will or an AMD. And the next is, when at the end, who is the person, and at what time do you decide, let us execute this? Who is the authority? Can you, because first of all, the process seems very complicated, which Rashmi explained, that you've got to notarize 7 copies, 8 copies. So we'll leave that aside. But where does it begin, and where does it end? If you could clarify that.
Me?
So
Okay.
maybe, sorry, go ahead, doctor.
No, whatever. I mean, whoever.
Yeah, maybe I will start with how to start in a very easy way because that's what Easy
Yeah.
Inherit does for everybody. But let me just say that when you decide to go ahead and make one, I think the first step is attending a seminar. So, congratulations to everybody who's attending today. You've already made your first start. Once you've done that, I think a very important point is also deciding how to go about it. ये बहुत ज़्यादा complex procedure नहीं है. Although, with all the terminology जो हम आज यूज कर रहे हैं, काफी लोगों को लगेगा कि अरे बाबा ये तो बहुत ज्यादा कुछ तोप चीज है. बट एक बहुत सिंपल फॉर्मेट भी है, एंड इनफैक्ट एडवोकेट रश्मि विल टेक अस थ्रू दैट फॉर्मेट टुवर्ड्स द एंड ऑफ दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन, जिसमें बेसिक डिटेल्स भरने हैं. योर डिटेल्स, योर मेडिकल हेल्थ केयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव डिटेल्स, ये दोनों सबसे क्रिटिकल है. और बीच में होता है कि आपको क्या चाहिए या क्या नहीं चाहिए, उसका एक लिस्ट होता है. दिस वेरी सिंपली पुट टुगेदर इज द एडवांस मेडिकल डायरेक्टिव. लेकिन इसके साथ the more important and critical point is to have two witnesses जो कर सके, just like आपके वसीयत में भी witness होता है, जो ये कह सके कि हाँ इन्होंने मेरे सामने ये document sign किया है, because you don't want somebody else taking that call for you or making that document for you. And I think legally, and this is what now Rashmi can come in and explain further, but we need it to be notarized or registered in the government style. So I think this is where you can come, Rashmi, and tell us exactly where it needs to get notarized and what happens from there on. And the moment that is done, Dr. Gursahani, if you can say how it kicks in at the hospital level. So when a patient is at the hospital and you're encountered with this decision, how does this will, when somebody has already prepared this particular living will and done all the documentation correctly, how does it get enforced at the hospital? So if you can please, or executed at the hospital, is what you can come in after. Rashmi can explain how it gets notarized and registered.
Okay. So I'll take you only through the process because earlier I maybe it sounded a little complicated, but to everyone, it's a simple process. Why I'm saying simple is because thankfully for a document, it's already available. And it is a very exhaustive document, which we probably can share it with everybody after the end of this webinar. And I can also take them through what it is all about. So it recognizes what vegetative state means. It recognizes what are the 7-8 treatments, or maybe you can add with consultation with your doctor. So you make an AMD where you say that if I reach this stage, these are the treatments I wish to continue or I do not wish to continue. Have a conversation with your doctor. And after that, you nominate a person. A person could be anybody. It could be your friends. It could even be your attorney, your lawyer. It could be anybody from your family, and make that person as the nominee or the DHR. It's advisable to have more than one DHR should the first DHR not be available. So let's say you identify two DHR. You discuss with them that this is what my wishes are. And once, should there be a need for the AMD to get activated, I want you to be the nominee who will then convey my wishes through the AMD to my physician, and whatever is given in the AMD, my treatment can move along that way. Once you have the document, you get it signed by two witnesses. The idea is to have the witnesses who are totally unrelated, should not be part of your family, just to keep it very impartial. And once in the presence of a notary, the witnesses should sign. The executor, that is the one who is actually making that AMD, he should sign. The name of the nominee should be there. And once the document is prepared, your AMD is ready. What you should do is that, to be on the safe side, keep the copies of the AMD with your family members, with your treating physician, with your doctor. This way, what happens is that in case, God forbid, you reach that stage where AMD has to be activated, the people who are relevant are aware of it. Now, what happens is Bombay High Court also had given a direction that all AMDs there should be a portal for uploading all the AMDs. That process is still on the way. Maharashtra government had made a verbal uh, commitment before the Bombay High Court that they will activate the portal. But like Dr. Gurswami said in the beginning, that these are all initial stages. We will see over the years how the entire thing goes ahead. What is important right now is that people should understand what AMD is all about. And even if we don't have a portal, at least these are the basic things that we can do and keep our AMDs ready. And again, I'm saying that it may just so happen that a person can go ahead and make an AMD, but the person may not have discussed it with the family. So it's important to discuss it with your family members so that there's no issue if the AMD has to be activated. And when I say issues, it could also be, maybe there's one family member who doesn't believe that, the person who made the AMD, the executor, was not in the sound mind at the time of signing the AMD. So, he might drag the AMD to the court. So, therefore, the discussion with the family members is very important, and we have to ensure that everybody is on the same page.
So, just to take this a step further in the practical aspect of things, I think I would like to tell everybody that if you make one, I think we have heard कि आप 5-6 copies minimum बनाइए, maybe even 7 copies. Okay, 10 copies, as Dr. Gursani is saying. Leave one with your family doctor, one with your spouse, one with, of course, one with each of the medical representatives whom you have chosen. And most importantly, I think the practical aspect is आपकी जो मेडिकल फाइल होगी बाय दैट एज यू वुड बी हैविंग अ स्ट्रक्चर्ड मेडिकल फाइल उसमें आप पहले वो डॉक्यूमेंट डाल दीजिए एंड दैट लेट दैट बी द फर्स्ट डॉक्यूमेंट सो दैट व्हेन यू हिट द हॉस्पिटल क्योंकि जब आप हॉस्पिटल जाते हैं आप मोस्टली 8 आउट ऑफ 10 केसेस में वो फाइल लेके जाते हैं तो दैट्स द फर्स्ट थिंग दे विल बी अवेयर ऑफ तो आप अगर उस हालत में नहीं है आपके स्पाउस जिनको पता भी है अगर इवन इफ दे हैव मिस्ड आउट on informing the hospital has seen that record. So then they can talk to you about it more easily. But having said that, Dr. Gursani, once a patient comes to the hospital, they are with you. Now, how does this entire document pan out?
Okay. So, 7-10, I mean, वो तो फर्क पड़ता है. एक चीज याद दिला दूं कि क्योंकि लास्ट मिनट पर गड़बड़ गड़बड़ में किसी को समझ में नहीं आता है, इसलिए यूएस में ये एक कॉपी फ्रिज पर मैग्नेट के नीचे चिपकाई जाती है. सो दैट एवरीबडी रिमेम्बर्स इट कि उधर एक पड़ी है कॉपी.
यहाँ पे फ्रिज पे धब्बे लग जाएंगे तेल के.
कोई बात नहीं, जो भी है, जैसा भी हो, तेल वाला भी हो तो लेके जाएंगे, लेकिन एटलीस्ट याद रहेगा कि अरे वो है. सो दैट्स द वन प्लेस दैट नोबडी फॉरगेट्स. सो आप हॉस्पिटल पहुंच गए, ये डॉक्यूमेंट आपके साथ आया है. पहली बात, एक और सवाल किसी ने पूछा था कि अगर मैं हॉस्पिटल ही नहीं जाऊं तो वो तो दैट इज बेस्ट. सो इफ योर फैमिली डॉक्टर इज अवेयर ऑफ दिस, अगर आप कहते हो कि अभी अगर वैसा वक्त आ गया है, मुझे हॉस्पिटल ही मत ले जाओ, एंड ये पूरा डिस्कशन फैमिली में हो गया है, उधर पैलिएटिव केयर बिकम्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. क्योंकि देन फिर पैलिएटिव केयर टीम चक्कर लगाने लगती है फिर, क्योंकि लास्ट मिनट में इवन इन बॉम्बे डेथ सर्टिफिकेट नहीं मिलता. सो ये सब चीजों को ऑर्गेनाइज करने के लिए योर फैमिली डॉक्टर और योर द डॉक्टर हु केयर्स फॉर यू और द पैलिएटिव केयर टीम ये सब चीजें ऑर्गेनाइज कर लेते. सो इफ इट इज डन राइट, यू विल नॉट गो टू हॉस्पिटल. बट इफ यू डू, क्योंकि बहुत बार ये चीजें इतनी रैपिडली होती कि अपने को पता नहीं चलता है कि क्या हो रहा है. अभी भी वापस घर आने का पॉसिबिलिटी है या नहीं, या वहीं से एवरीथिंग विल फिनिश, वी डोंट नो. सो द डॉक्यूमेंट गोज अलोंग विथ यू टू द हॉस्पिटल. आइडियली द डॉक्टर हु इज ट्रीटिंग यू, उसको डॉक्यूमेंट के बारे में मालूम है, हॉस्पिटल के रिकॉर्ड्स में डॉक्यूमेंट है. अगर हॉस्पिटल के रिकॉर्ड्स में है तो फिर वो ये जो आप कह रहे थे कि बीएमसी या स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का पोर्टल है, वो मीनिंगलेस है क्योंकि हॉस्पिटल के खुद के रिकॉर्ड्स में, राइट. or then the doctor also is obliged to follow that. At that point, ideally आपके designated healthcare representatives और आपके family में विवाद नहीं होगा, ideally. लेकिन एज वी ऑफन नो, आपका जो पांचवा बेटा है जो यूएस में रह रहा है, जिसने आपको कभी 2 साल के लिए 3 साल के लिए देखा ही नहीं है, वो अभी टपकेगा और बोलेगा नहीं सब कुछ करो, राइट? सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट पेशेंट्स एंड फैमिलीज हैव टू सॉर्ट आउट इन एडवांस. अदरवाइज एडवोकेट रश्मि के लिए तो ये तो दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अ
Right.
सिचुएशन मेड फॉर हर. सो आप पहुंच गए उधर हॉस्पिटल में, ट्रीटमेंट्स होती है, इमरजेंसी होती है, एंड वी डू व्हाट इज कॉल्ड अ टाइम्ड ट्रायल. सो वेरी ऑफन जब ऐसा लगता है डाउट है, तो एक 3 से 5 दिन की हम आईसीयू वाले लोग बोलते हैं कि हम पूरी ट्राई करेंगे. वो जब 3 दिन खत्म होते हैं, 5 दिन खत्म होते हैं, उस वक्त फिर फाइनली डिसीजन लेंगे. और तब ये डॉक्यूमेंट वगैरह सब बात बनती है. उस वक्त फैमिली और डॉक्टर्स, फैमिली या डेजिग्नेटेड हेल्थ केयर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव डॉक्टर्स, दोनों भी साइड से आर अग्रीड कि इट इज द एंड ऑफ द रोड, कि इसके आगे देर विल बी नो गुड क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ. वी कॉल इट फ्यूटिलिटी, कि वो पॉइंट आ गया है कि अभी इसके आगे जाने में सिर्फ अ, अ, तकलीफ होगी, सफरिंग होगी, देर विल बी नो पीस.
So, Doctor, one,
हाँ,
sorry.
I'll just
I
finish.
just wanted, yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so वो पॉइंट पर, when you reach that point, so at least 3 doctors, it cannot be a one doctor decision. 3 doctors, and आपके family से, again we look at about 3 people. Ideally, designated healthcare representative and your family should be overlapping. So we look at least 3 people in the appropriate list. 3 doctors, they concur. एक वो डॉक्यूमेंट बन जाता है कि ये है. एंड once that is done, there is something called the second report. So another 3 doctors who are not in this list from the same hospital just check everything and make sure that this is correct. Why have we done this? We do not want one single doctor to take this decision. Because people raise questions of, whatever. It could be misjudgment, it could be something else. So you don't
Abuse
want.
of power.
Yeah, so it should never be by one doctor.
Right.
Then you proceed.
Right.
बोल.
And ये जो designated health
Healthcare
executors हैं, healthcare representatives हैं, उनको physically present होना जरूरी है at the hospital to give you this consent, or if they give you consent over a written documentation, will that be valid?
I don't know. ये सब चीजें अभी तो we are right at the beginning.
It is
I
in
mean,
evolving
इंडिया में
stage.
तो we are used to the other way around, जहाँ 3 designated healthcare representative और 10 family
30 लोग आ जाते हैं. That's right.
So we
बिल्कुल.
are yet to reach the situation where there is only one elderly person who lands up in hospital and a designated healthcare representative who's not even there.
Yeah.
So we have not yet
Correct.
reached that situation.
Right. Okay.
I will not reach it, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Right.
I just wanted to add one point to that, whether he should give us a written consent or not, a designated healthcare representative. So from what I've been reading and all, it's not just one consultation, but I think it's a multiple consultation where maybe a doctor has to go back and ask, explain it to the DHR that, this is what is happening, this is where he's reaching, we will observe him for some more time and all. So I don't think so it is one conversation. It could
Right.
be a conversation over few hours or few days. And, while it's not clear whether the DHR has to be present or not, but it is advisable if he's physically available there.
And which is why we also ask for multiple of them, right? So if you appoint 5 of them, the likelihood of three is the max that you can appoint. Okay.
I mean, 3 is a good number.
Yeah. I'm just
Otherwise,
trying to.
it's confusion.
Right. But having said all of this, especially Ramesh, I would like to bring you in. You, as a part of Gen S, talk to a lot of seniors, and you have you have an entry to their chatter, and you understand how this space is moving from their perspective. I think एक बहुत important point है which doctor brought out, and Advocate Rashmi also mentioned, कि family members को पता होना चाहिए about this whole thing, conversations होने चाहिए और clarity होनी चाहिए. So how do you think that space is moving in India because we are very specific when it comes to conversations like these. We are very peculiar. So, what is your point of view on that?
So I think yes, we have not had a serious discussion on such a subject, because it is definitely emotional. And if you ask me personally, to even initiate it with my family, I will think 10 times. Do I really need to go and talk to them? I jab hoga tab dekhenge. So there is an element of delay. There is an element of delay from a individual perspective that we will see it when it happens. But I think that is where we need to be very aware today, and what Dr. Gursahani and Rashmi has mentioned today. So from a individual perspective, I think it is very, very essential that you sit down as a family, we talk, and say, okay, I think I'm going through this trouble, and I we need to be prepared. I don't want you to struggle because of me. So these are my wishes. Please execute it for me.
So
So
I think
there is
from
a
what we've just heard, I think one of the first thing aap log sab kariye is today go back and have this conversation as a first starter
yeah.
to this process. कि आज आप जाके over the weekend आपके फैमिली मेंबर्स के साथ, स्पाउस के साथ, वाइफ के साथ, हस्बैंड के साथ, बच्चों के साथ ये कॉन्वर्सेशन कर लीजिए. लेट दैट बी कि मुझे ये बनाना है बिकॉज आई डोंट वांट टू हैव अ चैलेंज when I reach that stage. क्योंकि उस स्टेज पे पहुंचने के बाद तो there is, you've lost all, measures to this particular aid. तो इसलिए ये conversation करना बहुत जरूरी है, and that is the very critical part when they walk into it. I think, Rashmi, you were mentioning when we discussed earlier कि लोग जब आपके पास आते हैं ये लिविंग विल बनाने के लिए, and you made quite a few, तो does the family play a role there?
See, what has happened so far is that the number of living wills that we have come, we are very, maybe an exception of one or two, people have come individually. So I know what they want, and we can obviously make the will for them and get it notarized and all. But as I kept on saying all throughout the webinar, the families are to be aware of things, because what happens is then you end up in an unnecessarily legal wrangle where like Dr. Gurusani said that if there is a fifth son who is there in the US and he's not aware of AMD, he might go and challenge it in the court. So in any case, you have the secondary board, the primary board and the secondary board. While they are taking decisions, there could be a possibility that a fifth son can, go to the High Court and file a writ petition saying that this is illegal, and my father perhaps was not in the sound mind when he made that AMD. Which is why perhaps I think spouses and the children should be made aware of. And one
Right.
more thing I wanted to add, when you're talking about the concept of living will, it can be made by anybody from the age of 18 to whatever. It's not necessary that it has to be made by people of certain age. Anybody can make it, and an AMD should be changed or amended perhaps every 2 years, or maybe little lesser than that, maybe depending on if there is a change in your health condition. So it's not necessary what you made at the age of 18 when you did not have any kind of ailments would continue at the age of 80. So
Right.
revisiting your AMD is important.
And if you're 80 and you're making it, let's assume, is it critical कि आपके पास एक medical or mental fitness certificate चाहिए होता है to be attached to this AMD? To be of sound mind, to prove that you're of sound mind?
If you, Dr.
Yes.
Guruswami, you want to take this?
Yeah, so the thing is, for the estate will, again, Advocate Rashmi can correct me on this, for the estate will, because you're giving money away and so on and so forth, they do insist on that requirement. This document ideally is being made in front of a doctor, or the doctor is kind of taking you through it or whatever. So then I think in some ways it may not be necessary. But
Great.
but there is no harm, and that's one of the reasons why it has to be a joint doctor lawyer thing. Or sorry, if it is done by you're doing it alone, then at least your doctor has to confirm it. So you get that done. Last, but as of now, again, we are at the beginning. Like with the estate will, so much of this has already been cleared by law. Here,
Right,
we don't know.
Yeah.
right,
Just see, in any case, you have two witnesses who are supposed to sign it. So the
Yeah,
right,
witnesses are basically a witness to your sound mind.
right.
yeah, correct.
Agreed. Great. So we are at 11:50 right now. So in the interest of time, I think there are a lot of questions being posed.
Yes.
And along the way, I think doctor has been answering some along the way from what I see. But happy to take some more questions. We also have a template of an advanced medical directive. If we have some time, Manish and Ayush, then we can very quickly, for about a minute, Dr. Rashmi, if you can take people through this template so they are aware of what it entails. And we can come back and then close the session and take some questions.
Sure. Ayush will definitely share the format of the
So,
form.
Rashmi, can you very quickly, extremely briefly, just tell them what the contents are
Yeah,
and just emphasize and take them through the critical portions
sure.
so that you actually see what a living will actually constitutes and it's very clear in your mind and it no longer stays theoretical. कि ये सब तो सुन लिया, अब करना क्या है?
Yeah. So while you are pulling that up, I have a copy in front of me. This has been made by the Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, and we generally suggest all our clients to rely on that. Yeah. So this is the first part where you have to basically give all your personal details, your name, your gender, date of birth, etc. So this is pretty self-explanatory. Maybe we can
Ayush, next page. Yeah.
second page, which is an important thing. Here in the second section, you have to give directions relating to life-sustaining treatments. So there they have actually defined what exactly you mean by end of the stage condition or a vegetative state condition. You have to define over here that should I reach this condition, that is when the living will should get activated. And just below that, there are some 8 pointers where the document has highlighted what are the sort of end of the life condition, end of the life treatments that are given to people. So for example, CPR is there, dialysis is there is ventilation, chemotherapy, radiotherapy. So you can choose whether you want to continue with all of these or you want to negate some of them. Like for example, it has written over there in the next paragraph that the following treatments I do not wish or I wish to continue. So CPR is something that if you wish to continue, you can highlight that. And apart from these 8, if there is anything else, your consultation with your doctor can help and you can add to that. So you can choose what you want when you get into the vegetative state and what you do not want. The third section, which is on your next page, is in case if you have any other wishes. When we are talking about other wishes, India is a country which is, there are multiple religions, there are multiple belief systems which exist. So if there is anything that you want to do that, I want to, I do not want to continue with this part, or, life sustaining is something which is allowed as per my religion, that is something that you can put it in your desires or wish in part 3. Part 3 is again optional. If you do not put anything in part 3, that is also perfectly all right. Fourth is an important aspect where you actually designate a representative. So part 4 is where you give all the details of the representative and you tell the representative as to what sort of consent he can give and how he can activate the AMD for the executor. In the next page, the details of your representative have to be given so that he can be easily contacted. It's the next page. Then again, the fifth is the direction to be followed. If you can go to the next page, that is page number 6. You can talk about in case if you have registered yourself for some sort of organ donation that can get activated by this fifth section. And finally, there is a declaration given by the executor. And in the next page, you will see that the signature of the executor is required. The signature of the witnesses is required. And on the
Executor is the person who's making it, meaning the patient.
yes, absolutely. And the signature of the witnesses is required, their details are required. And on the last page, when you get it notarized, the seal of the notary should be there along with his signatures. So this, in short, is what an AMD looks like. Of course, you can talk to your lawyers, you can talk to your directors, and you can customize the way you want. But what is important is that it should be made in such a manner that if it is completely made by a lawyer, a doctor should be able to understand. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, it is the doctor who will be responsible for activating it. So if you want to make it all alone, that's a risk that you are carrying. If you're able to make it with your doctor, in consultation with your doctor, that's an ideal situation.
Yeah, ideal.
Thank you so much, Rashmi. Thanks a lot. I'm just going to plug in one more question from the audience here, which seems to be in continuation with this conversation, what you just mentioned. Have you, and this is to you, doctor, Lekha is asking, have you actually seen an AMD being executed and what was the experience?
No. So at this moment, we have been seeing only verbal. So somebody's had this discussion in their family and they're very clear about it. The family is supportive of this. Yes, that has happened. But
Right,
if you look at it, I mean, our own Living Will clinic started 6 months ago.
right,
And obviously, people, we don't expect to see any for at least about 6 months more or so. Because
right,
the first of those patients who are well enough to go and make the living will then reach the end of their
right,
days.
right.
So though it'll take its own time.
That's
Yeah.
right.
I
And it
also,
also, yes, please go ahead,
yeah,
Rashmi.
yeah, I just wanted to add that even in our experience, whoever are the clients, they are far and few, and they have not come to us saying that, we want a living will. It's just that our conversation, while we made a will for them, conversation stirred to living. So
Right.
nobody is aware, but conversations like this, webinars like this is something that is going to create awareness.
But having said that, for all our participants today, there is no harm in going ahead with this क्योंकि ये कोई ऐसा product नहीं है जिसका कोई side effect है कि देखना पड़ेगा कि it's been around for 10 years, 5 साल और फिर हम बनाएंगे. In fact, do it today. Yes, doctor.
50 साल. The first living wills were made in the US in the late 1960s. We are
Right.
far behind.
Correct. But having said that, we should be executing it now. I mean, we should be doing it ourselves. Doctor's already made one. He told you how his journey started by him thinking how I want to be in control of things at my end of life. So that is why what we should do. Also, there's one more question by Rita Shah. What if my family overpower against my wishes? I think, Rita, that is exactly why we are having this documentation and why you need to inform your primary, healthcare provider, your family physician, as well as your regular doctor whom you're likely to go to, and also file a copy with your regular hospital where you think that 9 out of 10 cases you're going to land up in that hospital, which is why doctor mentioned that even put one copy with them. So all of this is really extremely proactive uh, action at your end, which will ensure that your family will not be able to overpower. Plus, as Ramesh was talking earlier, it is also about including the family. So the family is already aware because family may jump into overpowering it if they have not been attuned or sensitized to this. Yes, doctor, you were saying.
No. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, that's right. So, which is why family plays a very important role, especially in India. Also, very important to know कि जब आप उस state में है, this document you should have pre-communicated to everybody. क्योंकि उस time पे तो you're not in a position to communicate कि अरे वो document लेके आओ. And at that point in time, if the people around you are aware of this document as well as your wishes, a combination of that will make this succeed. So on that note, I will ask Ramesh to say his last few thoughts on this. for each of you then. And then any specific questions which have not been answered, we can take those.
Thank you, Sejal. First of all, I need to really thank Dr. Roop and Rashmi for really taking us through the complexities of a living will. And not complexities, the whole procedure. So thank you very much for that. And Sejal for definitely taking us through this entire session. But I think it is a step that we need to get into our minds and decide that yes, making a living will is not really an emotional, although there is an emotional angle, but I think it is a step in the positive direction for anybody who is approaching near end, in especially. And like the whole system of getting it documented and keeping it, it only relieves yourself and your family members, because a decision at that stage is very, very difficult for anybody to take. Should I take the ventilator off or no? The AMD will come into help there. So thank you very much, everybody, for attending the session. I hope it was educative to all of you to know that there is something like this existing.
We have a couple of questions, Sejal, from Jogesh Mittal and Satwan Datta. If we can take a couple of them.
Rashmi, if you can answer Jogesh Mittal's question, can we include the AMD in our regular bill?
There are, like I said, there are two different things. Okay. You can, as a document, will is an important document. So you store the will, you can give the same sanctity to living will. But there are two different wills meant for two different things. Like I said, will is for your assets, for your liabilities, and it kicks in after a person passes away. So it's a different document. Okay, which probably should be kept with your attorney, lawyer. A living will is something that you should keep with yourself, a copy with your loved and near and dear ones. So you can't attach both of them. They're two different things.
Thank you. Yes, Jogesh.
I had one more question. Can the executor be your heir?
Sorry.
Can the executor be your heir?
So the executor is the one who is making
DHR.
the will.
No,
Yeah?
the DHR.
No,
Yeah.
no. Okay, no.
The
Okay, no, but
DHR.
if I suppose I'm not conscious, somebody has to execute my living will, right? After that.
We call that the representative.
Okay, so the representative can be my heir, right?
Yes.
It can be.
Okay. No, because
Only
in
the-
the regular will, the executor is the person who discharges the will after I'm gone, right?
Right. Correct.
Thank you.
Rashmi ma'am, one question from you. Has it to be printed on any stamp paper or plain paper?
It can be done on any paper. Does not need to be on a stamp paper or a legal paper. As
And
long
last
as
question, ma'am. Only notarized will help, or should I get it has to be registered with registrar office?
notarization should be enough.
No registration.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask?
We have Satwan Ji, yes.
Yeah, I was just going through that document and so many questions were answered. But, and I want to thank you all because we were not aware in my 60s also, and younger generation or the older generation also doesn't know about this. So it was very informative, and I just want to ask, how should I address my organ donation preference in this document, or I have to add another document to this?
No, it can go in the main document itself. You can add a line stating that.
And one more question is, suppose if I'm traveling or in another state and the medical crisis occurs, so will it be valid in another state?
It's from the Supreme Court. It is valid across the country.
Okay.
Yeah, but awareness of doctors, hospitals will vary.
Okay.
So that is a practical issue which, well, we can't really answer at the moment.
Suppose children's are in another state or abroad, so if we go there and this crisis occurs, so
You're more likely to have it obeyed abroad rather than in India.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, in India only I'm talking about, like my family is
Yeah.
in, so we usually move also sometimes. So,
Yeah.
and it was very informative. Thank you so much.
I just
Last
want
few questions we
एक
have.
I just
एक
want
Last few
क्वेश्चन
questions from, 1 second, please. We've got Anupama ji and Anita Kumar ji who's raised their hands. We'll go one by one. And I think we will have to then, yes, Anupama ji.
हेलो एवरीवन, थैंक यू डॉक्टर्स एंड एडवोकेट्स। मुझे ये बोलना है कि ये जो विल है, लिविंग विल है, ये पूरा हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन पे है। तो ये हम अपने मन से सोच भी नहीं सकते हैं कि हम क्या बंद करवाएंगे, क्या नहीं करवाएंगे। तो इस विल को बनाने में हमें एडवोकेट भी चाहिए होंगे और डॉक्टर भी चाहिए होंगे, तभी जाके ये विल बन सकता है। क्योंकि हम लोग एज अ ले मैन, हमें पता नहीं है कि क्या क्या चीज हम कर सकते हैं, क्या हम वेजिटेटिव स्टेज में कब आ जाएंगे और किस चीज को हम बंद करवा सकते हैं और कब हम आराम से अपना, जैसे इसके लिए आपने बोला था कि एक नॉट लीगल टर्म है मर्सी किलिंग, जिसको बोलते हैं कि वो उसके ऊपर है कि आप इतने पेन में हो, इतने इसमें हो कि आप जीना नहीं चाहते हो अब, तो उसके लिए, लेकिन वो हमारे यहाँ लीगल नहीं है। पर अभी भी अगर हम अपना विल बनाते हैं तो भी मैं नहीं डिसाइड कर पाऊंगी कि मैं कब वेजिटेटिव स्टेट में आ जाऊंगी, या मेरे हाथ पैर काम करने बंद कर जाएंगे, दिमाग काम करना बंद कर जाएगा। तो इसके लिए, इस विल को बनाने के लिए एक तो बहुत लर्नेड लॉयर एंड वेरी गुड डॉक्टर चाहिए होंगे, तभी हम शायद ये बिल बना पाएंगे।
अनुपमा जी, आपके बच्चे कितने हैं?
मेरे 3 बच्चे हैं सर।
ओके, पढ़े लिखे हैं?
हाँ, एक एडवोकेट है, एक डॉक्टर है
आप
और एक
उनमें से, तीनों
इंजीनियर
में
है।
से किसको ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी दोगे कि ये तुम, मुझे ये नहीं चाहिए, मुझे वो नहीं चाहिए, ये मत करना, ये वो मत करना, किससे आप पूरी बात करके
ये मैं अपने हस्बैंड को दूंगी सर।
आप अपने हस्बैंड को ये जिम्मेदारी सौंपोगे?
जी
हस्बैंड की उम्र भी तो होगी आपके जैसी।
होगी, लेकिन जैसे
तो
मुझे
ठीक,
डायबिटीज,
तो
मैं
ठीक,
ज्यादा
तो
इल साइड में हूँ। हाँ।
ओके, तो हस्बैंड और बच्चों में से एक या दो,
हाँ, डॉक्टर
उनको आप ये,
बेटी है, उसको देना चाहूंगी।
क्या फिर ये आप ये बना दीजिए ना, इतना तो कर दीजिए ना। आप उतनी जिम्मेदारी उनको सौंप दीजिए, फिर बच्चे ये नहीं करेंगे पापा आपने ऐसे क्यों कहा। आप समझ रहे
ओके।
हो? ये
हाँ हाँ,
आप ये जिम्मेदारी सौंप दीजिए कि पहले नंबर आप, नेक्स्ट नंबर आप, तीसरे नंबर आप, बाकी
मतलब
चुप।
मेरा टेक केयर करने का आपको जिम्मेदारी देती हूँ कि अगर मेरी तबीयत
या
बहुत खराब हो रही
तो
हो तो
हो गया
आप
आपका
हाँ, तो
एडवांस
ये बिल बन
टेक।
सकता है।
तो
यस
ये
यस
इतना
यस।
ज्यादा आपको दिमाग क्यों चलाना है? वो डॉक्टरों से चलाते रहेंगे जब वक्त आएगा तो।
ओके ओके, वही पूछना था कि इसमें काफी कॉम्प्लिकेशंस था, तो
नहीं
ये
नहीं नहीं नहीं,
बनेगा कैसे?
बिल्कुल। आप द मोस्ट सिंपल थिंग इज कि ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी आप किसी को सौंपो, उनसे बात करके उनको समझाओ कि आपकी इच्छाएं क्या है, और ये आप बात करते रहोगे ना, क्योंकि हमारी सबसे बड़ी मुश्किल है कि लोग बात नहीं करना चाहते इसके बारे में। अगर आपके पति कहते हैं नहीं 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 मेरे को ये नहीं सुनना, प्लीज मत जाओ, ये अपशकुन है, बात मत करो, तो अनफॉर्चुनेटली आपको वो लिस्ट में से उनको हटाना पड़ेगा। तो ये आप पहले से
वाची रहा था तो जोई रहा था आकार કેટલું
पहुंचेगी।
ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ છે
थैंक यू डॉक्टर। ये विल तो मैं अभी बना लेती हूँ कि भाई कुछ हो तो आप तीन जने हैं, ये टेक केयर करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच, वेरी इंफॉर्मेटिव। क्योंकि अभी तक तो हम लोग नॉर्मल वसीयत के बारे में सुनते आए थे, तो ये से नया कॉन्सेप्ट ही है, जैसा बताया रश्मि जी ने कि 6 महीने ही हुए हैं। तो बहुत हमने बड़ा अर्ली बर्ड है हम लोग। थैंक यू एवरीवन।
राइट।
Oh, we have last question from Anita Kumar.
Hello everyone, Dr. Gursani or Advocate Deshpande, Sejal Shetji, thank you so much for bringing so much information to us. तो एक बात रमेश जी ने बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट कही थी अपनी बात कहने में कि कोई एक 5वां बेटा आता है एनआरआई और उसको कुछ पता नहीं है और वो आके कुछ और ही इम्पोज करता है। तो while working in old age homes during my gerontology course, so मैं एक ऐसे केस के अक्रॉस आई थी जिसमें हस्बैंड वाज क्रिटिकली इल और वाइफ नहीं चाहती थी कि उनको अलग किया जाए, क्योंकि वो जानती थी लास्ट स्टेज उनका बेटे कहीं से तो आ गए एनआरआई 2 बेटे। maybe they wanted to wash their guilt or they wanted to prove themselves in society's eyes, तो वो जबरदस्ती उनको हॉस्पिटल लेके भी गए और सारा कुछ टॉर्चर के थ्रू हो गए भी और डेथ भी हो गई। तो वाइफ का जो हाल हुआ वो मैंने देखा था। तो मैं सिर्फ ये जानना चाहती हूँ, आप इतना जो ये अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, इज इट पॉसिबल टू टेक इट ओवर टू द ओल्ड एज होम्स और मैंडेटरी कर दिया जाए उनके लिए कि वो विल इस तरह की जो भी उनको वहां छोड़ के जा रहे हैं उनके बच्चे या जो भी, तो इस एक बिल इस तरह की बना के जाए कि अगर खुदा ना खास्ता उनके साथ कुछ ऐसा होता है तो उस वक्त पे क्या किया जाए, बिकॉज उनके पास इतने सोर्सेज और ये नहीं होता कि वो अप्रोच करें डॉक्टर्स को, लॉयर्स को। सो कैन दिस बी हेल्प एज अ
वी आर
सोशल कॉज?
वी आर कंप्लीटली ओपन, लेकिन एक बात, पहली बात, कहीं मैंडेटरी नहीं है। ये पूरा सिलसिला कंप्लीटली वॉलंटरी है। अगर आप किसी भी ओल्ड एज होम में काम करती हो, आई मीन यू कैन स्पीक टू एडवोकेट रश्मि जी, स्पीक टू मी, माय कलीग्स, वी आर मोर देन हैप्पी टू सेट अप कैंप्स एंड कम अक्रॉस एंड डू एवरीथिंग, लेकिन दिस इज वॉलंटरी।
एंड
नोबडी
वी डोंट एक्सपेक्ट दिस टू एवर बिकम मैंडेटरी, क्योंकि ये चीज मैंडेट हो ही नहीं सकती है। ये आपका चॉइस है, ये आपको डिसाइड करना है कि आपको क्या चाहिए। सो आई डोंट थिंक एज पर लॉ इट विल एवर बिकम अ मैंडेट।
नहीं सेजल जी, मेरा कहना ये था कि जो फैमिली मेंबर्स अपने सीनियर्स को छोड़ के जा रहे हैं ओल्ड एज होम्स में, तो एक कुछ डॉक्यूमेंटेड रहे उनके सीनियर की तरफ से कि अगर कोई ऐसी सिचुएशन अराइज होती है तो वो किस तरह का ट्रीटमेंट चाहेंगे। जैसे उनकी बाकी फाइल बनती है, एक डॉक्यूमेंट ये भी बने, इस तरह का कुछ इनिशिएटिव क्या आप लोग हेल्प कर सकते हैं उसमें? दिस इज व्हाट आई वांटेड टू आस्क।
I think definitely everybody on this panel, all four of us would be more than happy. अगर आपके पास ऐसा कोई भी institution है, you bring it to us. We will all, I think I am talking on behalf of all of us, and I think I can see nods from all of them there, saying we will all be very happy to come and facilitate it. कि हम लोग ये process उनको समझाएं, उनको बताएं, उनको चाहिए तो वो फॉर्म्स दे दे, सो दैट यू नो इफ इट इज एन इंस्टीट्यूशन, उनके पास टाइम नहीं होता है केस बाय केस करना, तो उनके लिए एक स्ट्रक्चर्ड डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए होता है, हम वो भी उनको बना के दे सकते हैं। और वो ऑप्शन दे सकते हैं अपने जो भी जब भर्ती कर रहे हैं कि आपको ये ऑप्शन लिविंग विल बनाना है, नहीं बनाना है, एंड इट गोज इनटू देयर फाइल एज यू रेकमेंडेड, राइट?
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू।
Manish,
Thank
any
you.
last
And
questions?
Rita Shah has raised her hand.
Okay.
Rita ji, would you like to ask any question? Kindly unmute yourself and you can start your video.
Just 1 minute before
Sure.
Miss Rita goes online,
Sure.
Dr. Roop Gursahani and Rashmi have both texted me specifically saying we are okay to continue with this session for a little longer, which is how we are at 12:10. Because as you
Great.
all know, Dr. Gursahani is actually in Goa. Rashmi has a working day. Her
Yeah.
clients are waiting. Lekin they are all, here wanting to facilitate and make as many people understand the concept as clearly as possible. So thank you very much, both of you, for
Thank
making
you.
a little extra time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much,
Uh,
doctor, and thank you, advocate. Yes.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much.
बेटा जी, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
और
रीटा जी, आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही है।
One minute.
Sure.
Actually, now we can hear you.
Yeah.
हेलो, आ रही है
Yes,
आवाज?
clear, रीटा जी। बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
हाँ, so just wanted to ask कि me and my daughter, पहले मेरी डॉटर ने और बाद में मैंने अपने ऑर्गन्स प्लेज किए हैं, और वो मेरे कार्ड मेरे साथ में ही रहता है जब भी मैं मतलब बाहर जाती हूँ, कहीं भी जाती हूँ। लेकिन ये क्या है, बहुत सेंसिटिव टॉपिक है कि अगर ये क्या सारा मतलब कई लोग मतलब इसमें फैमिली की ही बात आती है तो नहीं एग्री करते, तो इसके लिए हाउ वी कुड कैसे जा सकते हैं? मेरी बेटी मेरे साथ है, ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छी बात है।
आई थिंक वो
Sorry,
तो अपन
आपका एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन क्या है रीटा जी? सॉरी, आई मिस्ड आउट ऑन दैट, सो देन वी कैन टेक इट।
ओके, मेरा ये था कि ऑर्गन डोनेशन बहुत मतलब नाजुक टॉपिक है, तो मैंने पहले मेरी बेटी ने किया था प्लेज, मैंने प्लेज किया है। तो ऐसा तो नहीं कि फैमिली के सामने ही हम मर सकते हैं, लेकिन मेरी बेटी को वो कार्ड मैं अपने साथ ही रखती हूँ कि कभी कहीं भी कुछ भी हो सकता है, तो वो कार्ड तो है मेरे साथ, तो जो भी देखेगा तो ऑर्गन डोनेशन में वो मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छी बात हो जाएगी। इतना मैं जानना चाहती हूँ कि इसके लिए किस तरह का कुछ बनाना चाहिए या वो कार्ड ही काफी है?
तो ये जो हम आज जो बात कर रहे थे, वी कॉल दिस एडवांस मेडिकल डायरेक्टिव, राइट? ओके, ये एडवांस मेडिकल डायरेक्टिव इज
हाँ हाँ।
इज द डॉक्यूमेंट, लेकिन जो ओवरऑल कॉन्सेप्ट है इज एडवांस केयर प्लानिंग। अगर आपने देखा होगा वो जो
ओके
वाटरमार्क था वो डॉक्यूमेंट पे, दैट इज एसीपी। एसीपी इज एडवांस केयर प्लानिंग।
ओके
आप आगे के अपने केयर के बारे में प्लान कर रहे हो, उसमें ऑर्गन डोनेशन भी है। आपने एक्चुअली वो जो हम जो लिस्ट बताते हैं कि एसीपी में ये सब चीजें करी जाते हैं, ऑर्गन डोनेशन इज द लास्ट। लेकिन ये बाकी सब भी तो करना पड़ेगा ना। सिर्फ ऑर्गन डोनेशन अलोन तो विल नॉट वर्क, especially in somebody who's very elderly. The only organs that can be taken are the eyes. It's only in younger people that you can take kidneys and lungs and heart and so on. So, uh, organ donation is obviously part of it. लेकिन अगर आप, it's better if you do the whole process.
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू सो मच डॉक्टर गुरसानी। इट विल हेल्प मी कि अभी कल ही मिलने वाले हैं सारे फैमिली, तो ये बात उनके सामने रख सकूं। कैसा रिएक्शन आएगा ये तो मुझे पता नहीं है, लेकिन या थैंक यू सो मच।
तो तो मैंने एक लिंक चैट बॉक्स में डाला है, दैट इज कॉल्ड द कॉन्वर्सेशन प्रोजेक्ट। वी आर वर्किंग विद देम। द कॉन्वर्सेशन प्रोजेक्ट इंग्लिश में है, लेकिन उसमें एंड अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड फैमिलीज में यही सवाल आते हैं कि आप ये टॉपिक निकालोगे कैसे। लोग कुछ और चीज के लिए मिल रहे हैं, दे आर मीटिंग फॉर अ हैप्पी ओकेजन, और ये आ गई, ये किसके बारे में बात कर रही है, ऐसे अपशकुन चीजों के बारे में क्यों बात कर रही है। हाउ टू हैंडल दैट?
एग्जैक्टली।
So you have to, that conversation project will give you pointers. लिंक
Great.
है उसमें, मैंने डाला है लिंक। Actually,
Thank you
you
so
should
much,
do
Ritav.
that. And at
Yeah.
some stage, we should look at having materials like that available in Indian languages also.
And on that
सर मैं
note, yes, बोलिए।
मैं तो चाहती हूँ कि नॉट ओनली आईज, लेकिन जितने भी हो सके ऑर्गन, मतलब जितने भी काम आ सके, आई रियली वांट टू डोनेट। अभी जिंदा रहते हुए तो यही आशा है, लेकिन उस टाइम पे क्या काम आ सकता है पता नहीं है। लेकिन ये बहुत अंदर से मेरी विश है कि ये मैं बस करके जाऊं, कुछ तो करके जाऊं मतलब।
राइट, थैंक यू वेरी मच अनीता जी। आई थिंक आपने एक्चुअली एक बहुत अच्छा लास्ट स्टेटमेंट बोला, जिसके दिस इज हाउ वी कैन क्लोज द सेशन टुडे, कि कल आपके यहाँ सब लोग मिलने वाले हैं। एंड एज डॉक्टर सेड, गेट स्टार्टेड। उसके लिए उन्होंने कॉन्वर्सेशन प्रोजेक्ट की लिंक लगाई है। मनीष एंड ऑल विल शेयर विथ यू लेटर। बट आई
That's
थिंक
great.
वन ऑफ द की थिंग्स दैट वी कैन रिमेंबर इज कि ये कॉन्वर्सेशन सिर्फ डेथ के बारे में नहीं है। इट इज लाइक आई स्टार्टेड, और जो जेन एस लाइफ का मोटो है कि बताइए कि मैं बिंदास जी हूं अब तक, और मुझे ऐसे ही रहना है, इसके लिए मैंने ये चॉइस किया है। आई थिंक कॉन्वर्सेशन भी हमें थोड़ा बदलना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये डेथ के बारे में कॉन्वर्सेशन नहीं है। ये कॉन्वर्सेशन है यू एम्पावरिंग योरसेल्फ। आप अपनी लाइफ अपने हिसाब से जीना चाह रही हैं, एंड यू वांट टू मेक द चॉइसेस। तो ये चॉइस के बारे में है। एंड हैविंग सेड दैट, ओवर टू यू मनीष फॉर द रैप अप
Thank
ऑफ
you.
दिस सेशन।
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sejal, for hosting this session so beautifully and simplifying such an important topic with so much clarity and calmness. A heartfelt thank you to all our distinguished guests and panelists, Dr. Gursahani, Advocate Rashmi, and Ramesh, for sharing your expertise and patiently addressing all questions. आज बहुत सारे doubts clear हुए हैं, for sure, I will say that. If I may summarize today's discussion in one simple thought, planning is not pessimism, it is preparedness. And that's why at Generous Life, we all want our seniors to live a wonderful, happy, and exciting life. Celebrate life. Here's what our members have to say about us. Ayush, can you just play the video?
जेनएस लाइफ ज्वाइन किया है,
मेरे को उससे बहुत बेनिफिट हुआ है।
Ever since I've joined, I feel more energetic.
जब से जेन्स लाइफ में आए तभी तो मजा आ रहा है, बहुत मजा आया, ज्यादा मजा आ रहा है।
मला तुमचे डान्सर स्टेप म्हणजे खूप आवडल्या।
मैं कभी गाती नहीं थी, पर जेनएस लाइफ में आके मैंने थोड़ा गाना भी शुरू कर दिया है।
हमें योगा सिखाते हैं।
पहले मैं बिल्कुल वॉक नहीं कर सकती थी, इससे मेरे में बहुत अच्छी पावर आई है, जिससे मैं वॉक भी करती हूँ।
Malvika also does really good exercises, which opens up my joints and I feel energetic.
जो आज टूर किया हमने, इसे वॉक नहीं बोलते, कंप्लीट टूर है ये। बहुत सारी स्टोरियाँ सुनी, पर आज देख ली, पत्थर बोलते हैं।
सफेद ढोकला, कैलाश में तक खांडवी लाई हूँ और दाड़म लगा।
तंबोला खेला, प्राइज जीती और जितना भी फास्ट फूड आया वो बहुत बढ़िया लगा।
पाव भाजी in particular, which were really tasty and wonderful. It was a beautiful evening.
और मेरा सबसे फेवरेट ईचा जुम्बा।
घर पे बैठ के ये सारे मजे ले रही हूँ, डांसिंग, सिंगिंग, एवरीथिंग।
कुछ भी फाइनेंस रिलेटेड हो, हेल्थ इश्यूज हो, तो भी हमें बहुत अच्छी तरह से इंफॉर्मेशन देते हैं।
सिनियर सिटीजन्स साठी एकदम योग्य प्रकारे घेतलेल्या।
I hope a lot of people out there will join जेनएस।
जेनएस के साथ लाइफ जीना चाहता हूँ।
तो लॉन्ग लाइफ बेनिफिट लेने के लिए इसको कभी नहीं छोड़ूंगी।
अभी तो हम जवान हैं।
Wow. So with that, we come to an end of our webinar. Thank you everyone for joining this. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact us on 882-881-6060. Thank you once again, everyone, for your time, your openness, and your participation today. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish ji. Thank you so much.